Hello again. In this video, I wanted to talk about my personal experiences that are similar to Trevor's, pertaining to him being an armored truck driver. Also, a lot of the experiences that have informed me on characters like Michael and all that. My first job was as a golf caddy at a country club. I did that for one summer when I was in high school. When I got my driver's license, I was working as a pizza delivery driver. It started out as like a bit of like a challenge, just getting used to working. I feel like everybody kind of has to go through that little arc in their life. And eventually it got so easy to me because I started out as like this young kid. And then by the end of it, I was the most senior person. I had been there the longest out of all the delivery drivers because all the older guys left and there were these younger kids that came in. And I basically had trained most of the people that were working there by the time I had left. And that was by the age of like 18. Wow, damn, didn't think about that. At the same time that I was working as a delivery driver doing pizza deliveries and delivering people their subs and calzones and everything, I was also driving for a Chinese restaurant and a Japanese restaurant. And basically I would just deliver food for them on Fridays because they made massive tips on Fridays for some reason. And then I would work for the other place another 2 days of the week and then doing school work, trying to apply to colleges and all that. So some other jobs that I don't know, like sometimes like I've had jobs that were really kind of boring, and then I've also had jobs that were really demanding. One of the jobs that I did was I worked for a FedEx store. It was honestly really interesting because I learned a lot about packages and things like that. And I'll see things and, I'll see like a DHL truck and I'll tell somebody, I'm like, if you're doing international shipping, that's the company to go with. There's certain things that you just learn from different jobs that are kind of fun and interesting. That was probably one of the more mellow, easygoing jobs. I worked as a Starbucks barista for a bit. Starbucks was, honestly, there's some rough moments. It was not that making coffee or dealing with customers was difficult. Just sometimes, you get some characters that want to yell in your ear about things and you're like, okay, whoa. I had done many a job before that, and I had never been yelled at to the extent that I was yelled at that job. So there was that one. I don't think that that's a Starbucks thing as a whole. I think it was just more so that store. Another occasion where I was yelled at was my first job working as a demolition laborer. There was this guy, I don't want to get too much into it because I don't want to be mean, but he was really... he was very unbecoming, to say the least, and was very mean. He was always looking to immediately try to fire me, I think because I was, a rather young guy. Putting that guy aside and everything, I had continued to work that job on other occasions, doing other locations, other things, and, working under different people, and I've had amazing people at that job. Admittedly, it's kind of difficult to, explain, but there comes a point in time where, you're doing a lot of heavy lifting, back-breaking stuff, and then they have these quiet moments of there's nothing to do, but you have to find a way to make it so that you look like you're doing something just to be able to earn the paycheck, So yeah, that was a very interesting experience. Honestly, I learned a lot from that job, and I hold it to a high regard, in particular because of the fact that doing that work, very, very intensive, hardcore work, especially getting rid of asbestos and things like that. I was licensed for asbestos removal. It's what actually bought me the camera that I'm filming with right now. I bought that with money that I made working as a laborer. My lens as well that I'm using. I remember they were top notch when they first came out. I worked really hard at that job in order to get those things, and I was very proud of it. And to this day, I'm still very proud of the things that I've learned. In the case of where this relates to Trevor, there comes a point in time where if you're not getting anywhere that you want to go in life, and let's say you're drowning in debt or anything like that, it becomes a whole rat race, especially because at that time when I worked that job, I was living at home with my family. So I wasn't paying for an apartment, didn't have any kids. There were people that were younger than me that had kids working that job. And I can only imagine that the stress that you feel with those things. And, you're making that money, but most of it is going to your kids or the mortgage or anything like that. I was very fortunate at the time to be living with my parents. I don't know what I would do if I had to work a job like that just to be able to make ends meet. I've honestly kept my expenses low in my life because of the fact that I wanted to do what I want to do. I spent a lot of money on my education, but I've put it all to use as much as I can. I have gone times where I hate to say it, but the whole starving artist thing is, kind of real. There was a point in time where when I first moved out here and I had no job prospects because it was the middle of COVID, I had to eat a bowl of spaghetti a night, and that was about it. Nothing on it, maybe a little olive oil, and that was like living it up. I did that for a few days, and thankfully a friend of mine got me into working as a caterer, and that's how I got into production assistant, all the other things. I might have worked as a filmmaker on the East Coast, but moving out here, I had no job prospects at all. But it was what I wanted to do. There was no other time to go. It was the perfect time to go because I had somebody to move in with, and they needed a roommate at that time, like immediately. So I had to make the move immediately. And to say that I have been obsessed with filmmaking from a young age is like kind of saying not that much in comparison to what it really is. So yeah, that's just a little bit of a background on my work experience, things outside of the film world and all that, and what I'm drawing from when writing Calameda Road. I hope you guys find my obsession with film to be fascinating enough to try to donate to the Kickstarter campaign on September 1st. You guys can sign up for the email list. The link should be somewhere. If not, you can look up our Instagram account, Calameda Road, all one word. There's the YouTube page. Join the emailing list, and if you are on the emailing list, when you receive the email for the Kickstarter going up, please send it out to anybody that you think might be interested. Of course, only if you feel like it, only if you're up to it. I'd very much like to get my first feature film off the ground and really get this career up and going. Until the next one, take care, guys, and best regards.